approximately 3 months, right? February until May. I'm interested if you can talk a little bit about a moment of discovery for you in this process. Wondering if it's about a breakthrough or a moment where there was an aha moment. What was that moment and what was the discovery? And then perhaps how were you able to apply whatever that discovery was to this process or to the work that you're doing?
Well, pretty much the whole experience in general was sort of a discovery moment because I had just only been playing jazz for like a year at that point. And so, so the whole thing had changed my view of like how musicians operate and like how a concert is actually made and how an idea is brought to a stage.
Excellent. I'm going to leave this question on the floor, so continue to reflect about discoveries. If something comes up, definitely give us a shout and come back to that question. I'm interested in hearing Steven say that he had only been playing jazz for about a year. If you can share with us how you even came to jazz music, to jazz band, perhaps it's useful to reflect on the question how you chose your instrument or how your instrument chose you. I don't know which was the case. And I'm also interested in hearing the answer to the question from Bethany as well, if you want to talk about how you came to jazz, how you selected your instrument or instruments.
As you probably saw in the piece, Willie Pickens is my father, so obviously the piano was something I heard all the time. I was told that my bassinet was rolled up to the piano, so I could get used to him practicing, which he still does daily. So that was actually my first instrument. Then my band instrument I wanted to play saxophone, but I started out on clarinet. At the suggestion of my mom, she just thought that was a more of an appropriate instrument for a girl. And it actually paid off because studying music education, as both Mr. Powell and I did, clarinet is the first woodwind instrument they start you off on. So I was able to go right to the oboe and bassoon. But I like instruments in general. You know, I try to play a little bass and drums and everything. But piano is the tool that I use for writing, composing music, and it's given me the ability to speak to the other musicians because of that experience.
So, like Miss Pickens, my mom wanted me to play a gender-specific instrument, but I went against her, and I was like, I'm gonna play trombone, and I don't care what she says. So I picked the trombone, and yeah, I just had fun, and
she's playing other instruments as well. She's picking up the She's doing quite well.
I know.
And then as for me, when I first started, it was like a choice between trombone or maybe like flute or whatever. My mom didn't want me to play flute. So I ended up playing trombone, and I actually like it better anyway. So.
Were you always with guitar, Steven? And even as you came over to jazz, were you playing the guitar always?
That was pretty much like the only instrument I know how to play, really. So yeah.
That's bass guitar.
Yes. Jason, can you talk a little bit about how the composition for you changed working with the students? Are there ways in which you came into the room, you saw something that the students were doing and the students inspired you? And if so, can you talk about what some of those moments are?
Sure. I mean, like for me, beat is like the most important thing in the world. Like, what's the beat? Like, what's the beat? Like, I don't need people to try to play a beat from 1928 and like play it specifically and copy it. I hate that. So beats are different now. People hear beats differently. They make them differently. And I was trying to find a place that we could play these songs and you could have the phrasing, that you could have any phrasing, but that beat would make it all make sense. And so, like, who the marching band cast is here? Like, raise your hands. Oh my goodness, see this? I mean, like everybody's in the marching band, but you know what I mean? But like the way that they walk around and play is not the way I work. So I play piano, so I sit at an instrument that's stationary. And so I can't like hit the field, you know what I mean? And there's something to the energy of watching, I mean, you know, so from an outsider, and I consider myself an outsider for that, there's something interesting about that timbre, that relationship, that texture, you know? And professional musicians, like who are playing now or wherever they are in this building, like they have refined out of them certain aspects of their texture and their timbre. They can figure out ways back inside, they can turn it on, turn it off. But what I really like about how some of the intonation that is apparent in the group, you know, or the way the beat feels, you know, like that's the texture for me. The songs are like, they're kind of like whatever, but for me, like how they play them, that gave me more confidence that the songs were actually decent. Because if they could sound like that with them, oh man, okay. So like after we played this concert, so the bandwagon, my band, we went on and played these songs all around the world. People asking, oh man, what's that song? Big News. Man, who's that for? I said, oh, this kid's song. Kenwood kids. More news, man, you gotta show me that song. Like, people ask about these songs all the time, and I'm talking about these kids all the time. Because when I play them, I tell the story about how I got to work with them. And so, you know, so they changed my relationship with these pieces too, in a very powerful way. And also for me, it's a challenge to all of my professional musician friends who love having other professional musician friends on stage with them. The more famous, the more better, you know, but not necessarily sounding better, not necessarily good ideas, and also eliminating opportunities for people too. And I thought that I've seen a lot of that, and it turns me off. And but having like unlocking things for some people, you know, having people come on stage, having them shout to the back of the room with their horn or their, you know, their bass drum, like that for me is real. And I know what the power it has left me as a musician that travels around the world and does that and sends sound in the room. When you watch people respond to that, which they will watch in a few days, you know, when they feel that changes you. You know, and for some people it makes them go crazy for the fame part of it. But I like that the music then took on entirely different character that was summed up by their experiences, their relationship to their instrument, to kind of make this like mosaic of the sound of Chicago.
It's interesting because hearing you speak, actually, I have another question for Bethany, because we learned through this documentary that you also are a composer. And so I'm wondering if this experience has somehow shaped, changed, or impacted how you write music, or has it changed anything about you as a composer?
I think probably more as a presenter.
Okay.
The idea of you know, just not having a blank stage, which is so, you know, prevalent today. You see some musicians up on the stage, but the presentation, I think, was kind of something that was my aha moment. I said, okay. You know, I kind of assumed that because, you know, I was telling Jason, we had dinner a couple of weeks ago, and the funny thing about it is my dad had never heard of Jason, and he tells me that Jason is coming to check out the band at 1:00 in the afternoon when I know he's a headliner for the Jazz Festival. And I'm like, Dad, he is not coming down to check out my high school band. And I was telling my dad, I was so confident. Yeah, we had a great conversation. I know he's coming down. And but you know, so more so than anything was I've done research on him, and I've been following him. I've been a fan of his since I heard him on an artist Stefan Harris vibraphonist, and so I've been reading him. So the Jazz Festival was actually the first time I ever had met him, and so I knew he was into other things in terms of art, furniture, and things like that. So I had an idea that this was not just going to be a typical concert with the band setting up in the typical way, 18 pieces. So. And then when I saw this, I said, yeah, that was my aha moment, was the presentation.
Well, it's interesting because in talking about what it felt like being